One situation in which we have a plane of current coming toward us is the rings of Saturn, which contain charged particles, and they are coming out of the page toward us.
According to this, the current is coming out every meter this way, every meter to the left or right. There's 0.0026 amps per meter coming out of this thing. And I'm just going to draw this F ring right here. If we just draw the F rings, this represents I, these current coming out, all these different streams of positively charged particles coming out of this plane toward us. Now, as it turns out, Ampere's law can be used for current that is in this type of symmetry as well. And this is about a closed loop. That circle there in Gauss's law means a closed surface, but in Ampere's law, it refers to a closed loop of B dot. I usually use ds, but you can use dl as well, is equal to mu naught times I. And this is the current puncturing that Amperian loop. What I'm going to do is I want the magnetic field at 1.5 meters above the ring. We're going to model this as an infinite ring. This ring goes this way forever. It's infinite in both directions. So we don't have to worry about edge effects. Everything's going to be uniform here. But we can assume that this stream of current that's a flat plane goes on forever. What I'm going to do is I'm going to create an Amperian loop like this. This plane is infinite, but this loop, I'm just going to make a length L from here to there. And it's also that same length from the bottom. Let's just figure out what our magnetic field kind of looks like. I'm just going to look at one of these current elements right here coming out toward us. Notice that would, using the wire right-hand rule, the magnetic field produced by just one of these would be a circle around it. Using the right-hand rule, that magnetic field would be like this. Now, notice in between these two, this one will create a magnetic field similarly, but it will be pointing up over here, where this one is pointed down. This one's pointed up. So what's important to see here is that in this region right here, the magnetic field cancels out. In between those two, it cancels. Above this line, the magnetic field is always going this way. This is the direction of the magnetic field, B. Down here, as you can imagine, it's down this way as well. It's in the opposite direction. The B field is that way. And the B field still exists out here. I just am not concerned about that because that's outside my Amperian loop. I'm going to use Ampere's law. We want the magnetic field that is at this point 1.5 meters above the ring. Notice that by symmetry, the magnetic field, this B field, all along this part of my Amperian loop, that B field, it's got to be the same by symmetry everywhere on there. And if this is 1.5 meters below the loop, by symmetry, it's all got to be the same down there as well. It is a constant value of the magnetic field at this point, 1.5 meters below. So that means that because our magnetic field right over here is a constant, I can bring that out of the integral. So I'm going to start off just rewriting the integral here. I'm going to go around counterclockwise around this loop so that the dot product produces an angle of just 0. So my cosine is 1. So that means I can bring out B is going to be a constant over this loop. Now, here's the thing, and this is the important part. What is the magnetic field that's parallel with the sides over here? And I alluded to that earlier, how the magnetic field is canceled in between any two current elements. So the magnetic field along this parallel line, it is 0 right here. So these parts of, on these side parts of this Amperian loop, the parallel part of the field there is 0. So this dot product actually, for the sides here, goes to 0 because the magnetic field is going to be non-existent in between here. The integral of ds that I have to count is how long. Hint, this is length L, but notice I've got two sides where the magnetic field is parallel to my Amperian loop. What's the integral of all the sides that I have to count? This side and this side? If you guessed 2L, you're right. So what I end up with here is B times 2L, and that equals mu naught I. Now, all I got to do here is get an expression. This is a lot like Gauss's law. All I need to do is get an expression for that I that's puncturing this thing, and then I'm really there. B times 2L is equal to mu naught times, well, the current, notice that it's given as 0.0026 amps per meter of radial distance times, well, how long is this thing? How long is it that way? Well, that's pretty easy. That's already given as L. So this is how many amps come out for each meter of this distance times L. Notice that I do not have to include this. It's not 2L because it's just going in one direction. Every meter I go this way in one direction adds 0.0026 amps of current. Similar to a linear charge density, but it's a linear current density. When I calculate this out, I get the magnetic field here is equal mu naught times 0.0026 amps per meter times L over 2L, cancel, cancel, and that's your answer. I'm getting mu naught times 0.0013. The unit is amps. So that'll, when you multiply that by mu naught, that gives you the units for magnetic field. And one very interesting fact is, note that it is independent of height. That 1.5 meters never actually entered into the calculation. This is similar to the idea of an infinite plane. If it was charged, it doesn't matter how far you are from the infinite plane, the electric field constant doesn't change. No matter how high above this ring, the magnetic field is constant. So that answers the next question, which is this. What's the magnetic field 30 meters above the ring? Exact same answer. So it really doesn't matter how far you are above. That seems a little bit non-intuitive, but we got to remember we're modeling as an infinite plane. So it doesn't matter how far above you get this infinite plane of current, magnetic field is a constant forever.